sounds like a really cool role. I mean, you're the president, right, of this
Yeah.
excavation company. How did you land into this? Talk about the business, talk about the opportunities. I'll let you open mic on it.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just another networking relationship kind of deal. So 5 years ago, was introduced to a guy that's the owner, founder. He started this company when he was 19 with a backhoe, and grew it. I mean, at one point they had over 100 machines, and then he's kind of pared it back down. I think through the housing crisis in 08, 09, kind of pared it back down, and so I was introduced to him, and we kind of developed this mentor relationship. And we'd meet a couple times a year, have lunch or breakfast, and chat. And you know, he'd he'd share kind of where his business was at. I'd share kind of where I was at, and we didn't really talk much about anything else or any opportunity. But just so happened after I was exited out last August, we had a lunch scheduled, and so sat down and we're chatting, and it was interesting because he had been marketing the business for the previous year, and hadn't really had a lot of interest. Had a couple LOIs that had fallen through, and was kind of getting discouraged on what the next step was, and was sharing that with me. And then after we parted, he emailed me that night and said, "Hey, would you have any interest in coming in and basically taking over what I'm doing and letting me step out as into a more of an advisory role?" And so that kind of began that process. And so it took a few months. He was very diligent about making sure that I think both sides, that I knew what I was getting into, but that he also was comfortable with who I was and what I was able and capable of doing. And so yeah, so that's kind of how it came together. And in December, we came to an agreement to bring me in as president, and then he would transition over the course of 1 to 3 months, and then step out himself, and then essentially just focus on mentoring me, and let me just kind of run the day-to-day business. So the business itself is pretty interesting. Again, he started it 32 years ago as a 19-year-old kid, and
Wow.
grew it from, literally bootstrapped it from nothing up to a business that, last year we did just shy of 17 million in revenue. And we're transitioning right now. Well, I call it transitioning. We're moving from being a specialty contractor to being more of a GC specialty contractor, where we can self perform work. But we've got enough relationships to get bids and get projects, win projects, and then we can sub them out to other companies that might not have the relationships to get those projects. And we've actually been pretty successful with that. So it's been pretty interesting to learn the business. And I think I mentioned before, we've got about 40 machines that we run, 45 employees, and it's a fun business. It's been really cool to learn. Construction's completely different. It's a lot different than what I'm used to in oil and gas, but it's been a lot of fun.
Man, that's crazy. You took it from a bootstrap company at 19 to doing today 17 million in revenue.
Wow.
I mean, what a journey. Like, have you, that just seems like that would be somebody who would be just a great mentor and to work
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. And that's really the relationship has been that. And I still, I still call him a mentor. I have to call him my boss now too. But he's very humble. He just he doesn't see anything like, that for what it is. I mean, he's created a multi-million-dollar company that's a going concern, and he just doesn't act that way. He's kind of funny. He drives the same. He's got a 2013 Ford truck, and he's been driving it since it was new. It's got 170,000 miles on it. You just don't run into owners like that have built something to that scale and are just humble. Like, I don't think he's bought a new set of or a new pair of jeans or shirts for years. He's just a simple guy, and very passionate about the equipment and the business itself. So it's been fun to learn from him. We've had hours of dialogue over the last couple months as he's just traded stories and just been like, "Hey, this is what I've learned in this situation, and this is what you got to watch for here." And so he's been awesome to work with.